The Crown Court of Southwark, England, which determined this matter to disclose the identity of the said government official one or the said intermediaries.
We have details plus more from that press conference held by the NDC. Speaker of Parliament says he will not allow minority to stampede work in the House as the minority serves notice. They will stay away from proceedings to approve a $993 million Pualuku Dam project.
No group, no matter what it belongs to, can arrest the business of the nation because they choose not to take part in the particular business at a particular time.
And it's disappointing. That's how Information Minister Kojo Ponkruma describes case of the missing excavator seized from illegal mining sites as he pushes for proper investigations into the matter.
First step, it's disappointing. Second step, we need to have it properly investigated and the substantive answers provided.
We have details as he fires back at critics insisting that government has not failed in its fight against illegal mining.
And in business, U.S. fund managers dominate the country's Eurobond sale. We'll actually be getting more details on what is driving this interest in the country's papers.
And in sports,
I'm live at the Accra Stadium where tonight Hearts will be hoping to make it 2 wins out of 2 as they come up against Ashgold in a Week 8 Premier League encounter. Team news plus what the fans are saying to come in 50 minutes.
And as the multimedia group celebrates 25 years of broadcasting, we look at the major reforms in Ghana's prisons following the broadcast of Joy News' shocking revelations about the inhumane treatment in the country's prisons.
Those in the middle are referred to as sardines because we have arranged them like the way sardines are arranged in a tin.
That's coming up as we explore the impacts of the group 25 years down the line. Do join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.
Thanks for staying with us. Newsnight is brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience. And tonight, the National Democratic Congress has dared the world's largest airplane manufacturer, Airbus, to disclose identities of government official 1 and intermediary 5 as the controversy rages.
Now, the party, however, says calls for the identities of those mentioned in the Airbus scandal to be disclosed is irrelevant. The SFO, that's the Serious Fraud Office, report disclosed that some top of government officials and both the Mills and John Mahama administrations were subject of bribes, estimated around £5 million during that period to induce them for the purchase of these Airbuses, the aircraft. But the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, argued that the said report never cited any ex-government official for receiving a bribe or committing an offence. Listen to Sami Jemfi.
We have taken our time to carefully study both approved judgments, one coming from the Crown Court of Southwark, England, and the other coming from the District Court of Columbia. And in summary, both approved judgments have to do with legal infractions by employees and agents of Airbus and nothing more. The first is that Airbus, as a private company, on their own accord, engaged intermediaries to help them sell military aircraft to Ghana between the years 2009 to 2015. That has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Secondly, while the use of agents and business partners is common practice with multinational companies, the approved judgments held that Airbus failed to follow OECD rules in the appointment of their intermediaries. That again has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Number 3, the approved judgments further found that payment by Airbus of success-based commission to their agents exceeded the agreed 5% commission which was captured in the transaction agreement. That again has got nothing to do with the government of Ghana. Then finally, whereas there have been claims that success-based commissions were paid by Airbus to their agents with the intent of inducing or rewarding improper favor from the said government official 1, it is instructive to note that there is no such indication, or there is no indication in any of the approved judgments on the matter that any such inducement, no government official of Ghana is cited in any part of the approved judgments for receiving a bribe or demanding a bribe or committing any criminal offense. No ex-government official of Ghana is cited for either demanding or receiving a bribe or for committing any criminal offense. In fact, not even the unnamed so-called government official 1 is cited in the report or approved judgments for demanding or receiving a bribe or for committing any offense.
Now, in an interview with Joy News after that press conference, Kwesi Parker was in caught up with Mr. Jemfi, and he described as reckless any attempt by the governing NPP to link former President Mahama to the scandal, and insisted the former president is not government official 1 as captured in the report.
We were not a subject of investigations. Let us understand that this whole matter is about legal infractions by employees and agents of Airbus. It has nothing to do with any government official. Not even the so-called unnamed government official 1 was cited for any wrongdoing, whether bribery or any criminal offense whatsoever, in the said approved judgment.
So you are challenging.
And so to that extent, we are saying that whoever that person is, whether it is Parker or some agency, it is completely irrelevant because the person has not committed a crime. But if some people, for their own information, need the identity or want to know the identity of the said government official 1, then the appropriate place or the appropriate institution to demand that from is the Crown Court of Southwark or the District Court of Columbia or Airbus, which admitted, to allegations that they engaged an intermediary 5 who had a relationship with the so-called government official.
In the spirit of transparency, would you therefore challenge Airbus to disclose the identity of government official 1 and the other entities?
No NDC government official has been cited for bribery, not even an allegation. If Airbus had made an allegation of bribery or an allegation of any criminal offense against the Mahama or Mills administration, then we would have challenged them, to give further and better particular. But they haven't done so. So on what basis will we be challenging them to disclose an identity of a person who has not committed any crime?
So government official 1 clearly not former President
completely irrelevant. And
so he's not former President Mahama.
Not at all. I mean, I have said that those engaging in such speculations, business innuendos and conjecture, should be ashamed of themselves, because the Crown Court of Southwark and the District Court of Columbia had good reason for withholding the identity of the said government official 1 or the said intermediaries. That is because of the principle of the odi oterem pattern, which is one of the rules of natural justice, that a man cannot be judged unheard. And so if you read the approved judgment very well, you would realize that the Crown Court specifically, acknowledged that it will be prejudicial to the rise of the said government official 1 or the intermediaries who have been accused, in the investigation, without giving them a fair hearing. And so why would any person, anybody, sit in Ghana and on the basis of speculations and business conjecture cast aspersions on the image and integrity of innocent Ghanaians? Most reckless, most irresponsible, and we would like Ghanaians to treat that with the contempt it deserves. We should not give that any space in our body politics.
Well, so that's Samik Jemfi. He's a communications officer for the NDC, speaking in that interview with my colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson. So Parker Evans, there's a challenge now to Airbus. We're still trying to get the company to speak to us on the matter. Of course, the NDC has also been speaking on issues about illegal mining. We'll get to that shortly. But let's head to Parliament, because Speaker Professor Michael Quay says he will not allow the minority to stampede work in the House as minority serves notice they will not take part part in proceedings to approve a $993 million dam project at Apawu.
Now, the Finance Committee has approved the project, but minority MPs say they were not invited to the committee meetings that considered it. The minority says the cost is bloated and fraudulent. Earlier today, the majority sought to push through its approval, but the Speaker pulled brakes on it until Tuesday. He, however, had this warning for the minority side.
Those who it was referred to had the duty to do their work and report to this House. Those who choose to contribute may do so. And those who don't want to contribute as committees may not do so. Furthermore, we all know in this House, in both sides, there have been all manner of boycotts at some time or the other. Fine. If boycott arises, those who are seized to the work may do so, and they have to do so. Otherwise, government business and Ghana business will cease. No group, no matter what it belongs to, can arrest the business of the nation because they choose not to take part in a particular business at a particular time. That selectivity, honorable members, let decency prevail.
Now, Minority MP on the Finance Committee, John Jinapo, says the project is bloated by at least $150 million. He says they will not support its approval until the contract is re-examined.
I'm putting it on record that the committee chairman never called a meeting. Parliament is a house of record. Let the committee chairman show us evidence of how the meeting was called, who were the members of the meeting, and the attendance sheet and signature. That is the most important thing. How can you claim that you called only the majority side and had a meeting with them over a $1 billion contract? We are demanding that the Committee of Mines and Energy, the Committee of Agric, and the Finance Committee should sit properly on this matter, interrogate the matters, get ECG, get PURC, get VRA, get the Energy Commission, and clarify the issues. This is a copy of the report. Read the report, whether there was even a composition of those who attended the meeting. This is unfortunate.
Was it that the extended invitation and you, the minority team, didn't attend? Because that's the impression that has been given, that if you, the minority, don't intend participating, as the Speaker said, you can't stampede processes in the House.
That is inaccurate. There was no meeting and there was no invitation. Parliament is a house of record. When there's a meeting, the chairman of the committee causes the clerk to send notices to members of the committee, time, venue, and where the meeting is going to take place, which was not done. I am challenging them. Let them bring that evidence.
And just to a side conversation on that, the minority's position is that this is a bloated agreement. This is a contract
we have done our research. We have compared it with we've compared with the Renaissance Dam, we've compared it with the Kafui Dam, we've compared it with the Isimba Dam, and we are saying that the figures don't add up. That is why we need to meet over this and do a proper scrutiny in this country. If you have a parliament that takes about 30 minutes to consider a $1 billion facility and goes ahead to approve it, would you be happy with that?
So that instead of $1 billion, your estimation is that it should have cost how much?
My estimation, based on a rough estimate I made, that this very dam, is bloated by $150 million at least. That is my estimation. What are they hiding? Where is the fear? Why can't we scrutinize this thing? And then you say that we should come on the floor and debate. Members of the committees, VRA will not be at the floor, ECG will not be at the floor, PURC will not be at the floor. How do you scrutinize them on the floor of Parliament? We only scrutinize them at committee levels. This is unfortunate, and this is a complete rip-off.
Any expectation of the President himself, in the light of these concerns that you raised, what sort of intervention would you expect of him?
I hope that given the situation that we told them on Ameri, and eventually we were vindicated. We told them on PDS, and eventually we were vindicated. It is my hope that the President will listen to good counsel and act in the interest of the country.
Grateful, JD. Thanks.
So that's John Jinapo there, speaking to my colleague Joseph Opokugakpo. Joseph joins us in studio on this Apawu Dam project. What exactly does this project entail?
So this is actually a hydro power dam where they'll be generating electricity.
up to 60 megawatts. That's what they'll be getting from that. Additionally, there will be a solar power plant which will be generating 50 megawatts in terms of electricity. So, they're expecting like 110 megawatts of electricity from there, from both the hydro source and also the solar power source. And then additionally, they are working on a 24,000 hectare irrigation scheme so that then it would help support the activities of various farmers in the enclave. And with the breakdown, just to highlight that in a bit, out of the 993 million, it's actually 964 million US dollars. So this is just a few $1 million short of $1 billion, indicating the huge nature of the project. Out of that amount, 490 million is going into the hydro and the solar power plants, and then the irrigation plants. Government intends investing up to 478 million US dollars in that. And this is a project which is being rolled out in conjunction with Power China International Group Limited. That's the firm which would be doing the implementation, and it's a contract that will see them put together the entire project and hand it over to the government of Ghana.
Well, so the cost does not cover only construction of the dam, but other components like resettlement of affected people. Tell us a bit more about that.
It actually does. So from the document that was brought to Parliament, the creation of the dam will affect a number of households and facilities, including schools and hospitals and all, 445 of them. So they would have to resettle those people. That cost has been included. There will be the creation of irrigated lands, which as well, the indication is that some investments need to go into that. Government says about 2,000 skilled and unskilled Ghanaians would gain job employment opportunities as part of the efforts to create some jobs in the construction of the dam. Some of the money would actually go into it. There will be the linkage of the dam to various government initiatives, including one district, one factory, and as well some of the other projects having to do with one village, one dam, and planting for food and jobs. That would also be done. And as well, from the document that came to Parliament, there would be the establishment of flood control measures around the enclave. And the document indicates that about $6.9 million US dollars would actually be invested in that particular aspect as well to reduce the situation of flooding in that enclave.
So we heard from Mr. Jinapo, for instance, making allegations about the whole deal being padded by up to $150 million US dollars. Did we get a response to that allegation also? Because we've heard him justifying it.
On the floor of Parliament today, the majority side defended the deal and insisted that it had gone through the necessary processes and the figures have been properly interrogated, although the minority refused out. Matthew Nyindam, who is a deputy majority whip, defended the figures earlier today and indicated that this is something that the House needs to go ahead with. But we wait to see what happens on Tuesday. But the minority has indicated already that unless a consensus is found between now and Tuesday when they sit again on it, then they will probably boycott the processes leading to the approval.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, thank you. We'll stay a while longer in Parliament because some interesting development also there. Minority Chief Whip in Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, is asking his colleagues who double as students to resign. He says it's out of place that MPs and ministers as well as public servants fail to concentrate on their work and rather devote government time to their education. He says some of them cut corners, hire others to assignment for them because they simply do not have time. He was contributing to a debate on legal education on the floor.
It's so bad because what you are hearing, we are here in Parliament with the greatest of reasons. Sometimes I have complaints to tell my colleagues, look, being a member of Parliament is a full-time job. You can't take public time to say that you are going to school. If you want to go to school, resign as a member of Parliament so I can go and go to school. You cannot be shuttling between Parliament and some institution that you are going to school. It is wrong because you are using public time. That's bad attitude. If you choose to go to school, resign as a member of Parliament, go and do your schooling. When you finish, come back and contest and be a member of Parliament. You cannot double as a member of Parliament and also a student. In much the same way, you go to most of our offices. Even in Parliament here, you have our staff. They leave their job 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, that they are running to school. How can such a person sit and concentrate to learn? He will be hopping in and hopping out. And yet the system allows people to be hopping in and hopping out. Why should we allow civil servants, public servants, members of Parliament, and officers, even ministers, that they are going to school? People, our general attitude is just so bad. that we just think that we can take public time and run away with it and take a piece of it, pretending to be going to school. And sometimes you have people, even the home assignment and other things, they pay people to do it for them. And then they go and submit it. Some of them go to the online and do plagiarism and collect people's work, put them together, because they just don't have the time. This general bad attitude of all of us as Ghanaians must change. If we
Well, so you heard the debate on the floor. Interesting argument. It looks like there's a number of MPs who are currently in school because we've tried to speak to some of them as
I'm
we speak,
just
and
curious.
they've just entered the lecture.
How? Oh, yeah. Some of them
yes.
were booked to talk.
Yes, to talk to us. He's just entered
Well, but
the
this is
lecture.
after Parliament hour, so
Yes.
isn't he allowed? By the way, I'm just curious. How did this come up? I mean, because he sounded very passionate.
So this was a conversation around legal education and the recommendation that Parliament has made to reform legal education in the country after a petition went to them sometime late last year. And in the course of the conversation, Muntaka Mubarak was drawing attention to how a lot of students don't exactly take their books seriously, and that results in some of the failures that we see in some of those examinations. And it was in the course of that conversation that he threw in this bit about government officials using official time to study.
But what does the standing orders say?
So the standing orders have the standing orders has something to do specifically with members of parliament who want to engage in other job opportunities. So there's a committee that it's called the Members Holding Office for Profit Committee, where at the beginning of every parliament sitting, anyone who comes to parliament afresh and you would want to hold on to a second job, even as you serve as a member of parliament, you apply to that committee for them to go through the process and give the approval, so that then if you are a member of parliament and you want to still continue working as a consultant, as a lecturer, or any other job, running your own business, then they give approval for that. In terms of education specifically, nothing, in terms of what the rules are and all of that, nothing exactly bars any member of parliament from going to school or doing anything like that. It's only when it comes to taking up a second job, even as you are an MP, that it becomes an issue. And from some of the members of parliament, they think that that is something that attention should be paid to, probably including the bit about people who want to take time off to school in the work of the members holding office committees work, so that then they'll seek approval from the House, even if they want to do other things like attend school.
Okay, very interesting conversation.
Any MPs? Have you heard about any MPs that are in school? And
this is a trick question.
I
implore you not to answer. But a few of them.
I'll hold my breath.
You plead the fifth. You plead the fifth.
Yeah. If you know any, just send us a message though.
And then you read it on air.
Oh no. At least for my personal consumption.
Oh, your personal consumption.
Yes,
okay.
0244-340-43.
But the thing about it is, but even their own leader didn't mention their names on the floor.
No, he just spoke generally and made the point that everyone is aware that some of them are actually in school.
So what was the reaction?
Well, generally, even some of those on the minority side that are people who work under him appear to disagree. They're making arguments about the fact that education is a continuous process, and so then no one should hold themselves back under any circumstance when it comes to education broadly.
But what is his concern? Is his concern that the combining that affects your education, or it affects the work of parliament?
His main concern with law students was that then it affects their learning in school.
I'm talking about the MPs.
But then in his reference to those who are doing government jobs, then his point was the impact that it has on their work as members of parliament and also as ministers of state, which he found quite worrying. And then he additionally drew up the link with how come, and asked the question, how will these people additionally be able to learn if they have all of these things they need to do as members of parliament and also as ministers of state?
Well, you're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's talk about the excavators now, shall we? Because we mentioned that the NDC at the press conference also addressed it. And now a number of issues coming up around this excavators, the 500 missing excavators. The NDC is also accusing President Akufo-Addo of enriching financiers of the New Patriotic Party by allowing them to engage in illegal small-scale mining in order to be able to finance the governing party ahead of the 2020 presidential presidential and parliamentary elections. Listen to Sami Jemfi.
Any responsible government would have fired Professor Frimpong Boateng by now and ordered his arrest because he is not above the law. He's not above that. He has failed. This is hardcore evidence of his complicity in the promotion and facilitation of Galamsey. Already we've seen pictures of his own biological son engaging Galamsey. You understand? So he has lost the moral authority that he had when this fight began, and has no business chairing that interministerial committee. He needs to be fired not only as a chairman of the interministerial committee, but as a minister, and must be arrested to face the full rigors of the law. But we are not going to call for that. That is what, even though that is what any responsible government will do, we are not going to call for that because we know that the corruption clearing agents will whitewash him and clear him. He sees no evil. Here I'm talking about President Akufo-Addo, and he has no evil when it comes to TV on the part of his officials. But we are telling Professor Frimpong Boateng, Charles Bisu, Ekowawusi, and all those MPP top functionaries who are destroying our forest reserves, they are destroying our water bodies, they are selling excavators, they are promoting Galamsey and so on, that their day of accountability and reckoning is fast approaching. Very soon, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will take up the reins of government, and they will all answer for their crimes. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
We should commend the Professor Frimpong Boateng for causing the arrest of Emefa.
We should commend a man caught on tape promoting the Galamsey operations of top MPP officials as a means of financing the new patriotic party. Parker, seriously? Lives have been lost too. Excavators burned. Our forest reserves are being destroyed in a way never seen in Ghana's history. Check the color of the River Ofen, the River Pra, the River Brim, and all that. They are as brown as chocolates because of the increased spate of Galamsey, and that this president who claims to have put his presidency on the line for this fight.
So that is Sami Jemfi, the communications officer of the NDC. Yesterday, the NDC minority in Parliament called a press conference and made similar demands. They wanted the arrest and prosecution of the Environment and Science Minister, together with the other executives of the party alleged to be involved in the illegal activity. Well, the MPP's communications director, Yabo Abiyansamwa, has been reacting to that.
It is important that we appreciate and realize that, yes, a grave matter has happened. But that grave matter happened because Professor Frimpong Boateng himself raised it. It was not as if somebody else raised it for him. So Professor Frimpong Boateng's integrity, as far as that difficult office is concerned, to me, is intact. Now, the question is, what do you do once the matter he raised has come up? As we speak, the excavators, or some of the excavators, I can't tell the exact numbers, have been found. And beyond that, people have been arrested. It is important that we appreciate the fact that people have been arrested. And some of those people who have been arrested include ruling party members.
By the minorities, they are the small fishes. For example, they say the excavators, Professor Frimpong Boateng shouldn't have given it to a private individual to cast. The law says the police should have handled that. So he beat the law and he should be prosecuted as well.
Unfortunately, the minority can't always have it their way. They can't determine the size of fish. The minority can't determine who is a big fish and who is a small fish. Professor Frimpong Boateng has a mandate. The mandate is to move our small-scale mining industry from artisanal illegal basis to artisanal legal basis. The president's promise was that he was going to make sure that small-scale mining was properly legalized and regulated. It is not a problem, a small matter. It is not because there is a difficulty on the ground identifying what is legal and identifying what is illegal. The police are involved. The police are involved. So how do we go in and say arrest Frimpong Boateng? If the police come to the bottom of the investigation and find out that Frimpong Boateng is the one who instigated the disappearances, Frimpong Boateng is responsible, why would they not tackle him? They will tackle him.
Now, still on this particular matter, I'm pretty sure you may have seen a social media, one of those viral videos, in which two gentlemen accost somebody who sounded like is alleged to be the voice of the environment minister in an office, accusing him of a plethora of things, including involvement in the Galamsey activity and benefiting off that. These two individuals recorded the whole conversation. One person his face is actually seen in the recording. Also accused some MPP executives as also of benefiting from the illegal mining activity. It's being circulated on social media. Yaba Emefa speaks to it and denies categorically that it has anything to do with the environment minister.
Very well. I have seen that tape. I don't think Frimpong Boateng said anything out of the ordinary. The areas where illegal mining was most endemic are areas where we don't doubt the MPP stronghold. Are they not? These are areas where the vote tends to be higher for the MPP. To the extent that MPP activists are also entitled to participate in legal mining. Read my lips. They are also entitled to participate in what? Legal community mining. Then there is absolutely nothing wrong with Frimpong Boateng facilitating community mining options for those people. And I heard on that tape distinctly Frimpong Boateng saying that go and find out from the Ashanti Regional Chairman's concession. Am I correct? The word concession was used. A concession is a legal authority, legal license to access mining lands. And therefore, Wuntumi's concessions are legal.
Including John Boadu?
No, John Boadu hasn't done anything. John Boadu had a discussion to facilitate access for, and that is where it ended. John Boadu can be asked any day, and he will tell you that after the initial discussion with Professor, nothing has happened beyond that discussion.
Will you welcome an investigation into this?
There's nothing to hide. There's absolutely nothing to hide. And that is why the police are there. The MPP government has stated and will insist that we want to empower institutions. Every institution with capacity to investigate, prosecute, and otherwise do anything is free at any time to get involved in any matter of doubt, so that the public can be clear in their minds.
Communications Director of the NPP, Yaobu Abiyensamu. Of course, the Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, has been speaking about this issue, especially the missing excavators. He's described it as disappointing, but is asking for proper investigations into the matter.
I think, first of all, it's disappointing.
Is he going to be sacked?
Well, first step, it's disappointing. Second step, like I've said, we need to have it properly investigated and the substantive answers provided. He is the minister who literally led the entire exercise. And he has come up publicly to say that some of the excavators cannot be accounted for. He has gone further to report persons who, my understanding is his initial brief suggests are associated with it. He's gone further to report them to the Ghana Police Service. Question, so what are we all doing to encourage the police service to get to the bottom of this matter, so that if person A or B or C is found culpable, he is dealt with in accordance with the law? That is why I'm saying that all of us, instead of just drumming it up and flying it about, we all need to push our state institutions. Remember, we have agreed that fighting corruption is not going to be done by one macho man who ties people to the stakes and shoots them, and then a few years down the line there are worse allegations of corruption about him. It's going to be done by building strong institutions like what the administration is doing. And I think that is a bold and courageous thing that Professor Frimpong Boateng and his secretariat have done by reporting even associated persons who they believe are culpable to the police.
Okay.
How do we encourage the police to do a good investigation and get to the bottom of it? That's how you fight corruption.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah speaking earlier on the AM show today on the Joy News channel.
You're still listening to News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. When we return later, we'll have a love challenge, the poem challenge. Which professions are up tonight?
We'll see. I'll tell you more about it.
Okay, well, keeping it on the wraps. George,
the businessman.
The businessman, yeah, we'll hear. George, prepare. As you read the business news, you're going to give us your lines from a business news reporter's point of view.
Okay.
Okay. What do you have in the headlines?
Well, coming up in business, U.S. fund managers dominates that is the country's Eurobond sale purchase. We'll find out what drove this interest in our market. The country gets a little over $900 million that is set aside in terms of savings since we started exporting crude oil. Remember that it has been 25 years of providing you up-to-the-minute market numbers and all those economic data for you from here at Joy from the Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery and First National Bank.
I'm back. What kind of phone is this? Hey, Joe, into the coloring to have a radio. Chance not for you. Uber upgrade. Shasuna Daily. *120*1#. Nabeka MTN Resume level promo. If we and Yakopim, every Busumi in a year, would your Kosuna use with MTN number? No. Do more now, but we need 20,000 iPro 5S phones to move up. Cafe door. Bob, come on, test it. Now, for Chama Monica. I've been now. I said, Ubechen, you ringtone. So, Osaka iPro 5S phone. MTN Resume level promo. New year, new phone, new ringtone. We are good together. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Mr. Barr has big dreams for his business, Barr & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
We give you nothing but the best. We stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop. Where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everybody, to go back. I'm inviting you all on the 14th of February to come through to the Labadi Beach Hotel. It's going to be 7 p.m. It is the Love Experience. Come along, let's have fun, let's enjoy, and come meet me in Kobna as we give you amazing performances. 14th of February, Labadi Beach Hotel, 7 p.m. See you all there.
To buy your tickets for the Love Experience with Becca and Kwabna via Momo, just dial *920*50#. Select the buy ticket option and select option 3 to purchase it.
Shed your diamond, you made me so beautiful. Shed your diamond, made my life so meaningful. Shed your diamond.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back to Business on News. 9 institutions in U.S. did top the list of investors in the country's $3 billion Eurobond sale. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up from the transaction advisors that worked on the fundraising exercise. There's more in this Business Desk report.
So let's start with the 6-year bond that raised $1.25 billion at an interest of 6.37%. It reveals that 48% of firms that participated came from the US, followed by the UK with 26%, 16% from the remaining Europe, and followed by Asia. In terms of investor type, about 90% of them were fund managers, followed by banks and pension fund managers. For the 14-year Eurobond, which raised $1 billion at a coupon rate of 7.87%. For this particular bond, 52% were from the US, followed by the UK. Again, for this paper, 90% were fund managers, followed by banks and pension fund managers. For the 41-year bond, 44% of investors came from US markets, followed by the UK with 26%, with the rest scattered among remaining Europe and Asia. We are learning that in all, the final bids that came totaled $13.5 billion. $5.2 billion were advances towards the 41-year paper, $4.1 billion from the bond that will mature in 14 years, and $3.4 billion from the 6-year paper. Based on what we are picking, it is clear that there is a little interest from Asia, especially looking at the fact that government is considering issuing samurai bonds very soon, and whether this could be warning for them. The result also shows some heavy interest of investor appetite for bonds floated by Ghana, but also how development in the US and the global space might have contributed to this as well.
And that was a Business Desk report. In a related development, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the Eurobond results justifies timing for raising the funds. Now, some analysts initially questioned the government for issuing the bond or going ahead to raise this fund at these times with the issues about fiscal concerns and also being an election year. But speaking to Joy Business from London, the minister said the strong fiscal discipline being carried out by government could have compensated for all these concerns.
2019, we had the first quarter currency jitters and the exit from the IMF. Those were questions. 2020, we actually have elections coming, and you therefore have expected some hesitancy. So clearly, even the investor community is comfortable with what the country has achieved these 3 years, seem to have confidence that if we maintain this course, we should be able to support these issues that we go out to the market for. Our responsibility is to continue to be on course, to manage the macros and the fiscal, look to increase our revenue mobilization, which is really key.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta speaking to Joy Business from London. Now, economist Professor Apawu has expressed his full support for the Bank of Ghana's governor's stance on the introduction of the eco. Now, speaking to journalists after the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the governor Ernest Addison argued the currency may not be introduced this year because the required conditions are not there. The governor disclosed this after a meeting of English-speaking countries in West Africa, that is the governors and the finance ministers. Professor Apawu argues that it may be suicidal to go ahead with the currency issue this year.
Where I sit, I don't think the ground is fertile for introduction of a common currency for West Africa, because one condition is strong trade among ourselves and also integration of the people. And you can see that currently trading among countries in West Africa is not as strong as we expect. If you compare it to when Euro was introduced in Europe, when there was no border between countries, when countries were trading among themselves, you expect that you need a common currency that will facilitate trade. And if indeed all the 15 countries that we have are not trading among themselves as supposed to be, then when you introduce the currency, it will just be a common paper.
Professor Apawu is an economist and head of the Economics Department at the University of Ghana, Legon. The country has been able to save $968 million as earnings from crude oil exports. Now, this was contained in the half-year oil earnings report released by the Bank of Ghana. The earnings were based on what government got as its share from the crude oil exported for last year. A little breakdown of the accounts show that the Heritage Fund, which is meant for future generations, has been able to bring in some little amount of money. If you look at about around $576 million, while the Stabilization Fund, which is supposed to provide some assistance in terms of budgetary support, at the end of December has about $579 million. Now, for some, the development actually shows that we may have to take a second look at the law, because this is what we have actually earned since we started exporting oil. That's some years ago now. The Association of Ghana is rolling out a new initiative that would help unearth young talent in the industry, and that's why they are making a call for them to make this proposal to support the industry in terms of them making a request for this new award that they're actually launching for young entrepreneurs and young talents in the industry. And that's all for business on Newsnight. It has been 25 years of providing compelling business content to those entrepreneurs out there and connecting them to those who are also managing the economy.
Absolutely. Now, George, let's hear the business, the business news editor's poem for your loved one. Let's go.
Otherwise, we are not going to the Labadi Beach with you.
Oh, really?
Let's go.
Okay, so my love for you is like an expanding economy. It's like a currency that never depreciates and expands and grows strong. It's like signing that check that is a blank check. So you can just walk into the bank and take whatever you want. It's like giving to you the access to the Bank of Ghana vote. That's my love.
I like that.
So it's you. She's listening.
She's listening, huh?
She's listening. Okay.
George, we asked you to give us a line. Apparently, you were using it to, do other things. But anyway, I like that line, the last line. Access to Bank of Ghana vote.
That one there kills me.
It kills you,
yes.
It will kill you
Please
too.
send yours too.
It will kill you too.
Send yours. WhatsApp is 0244340437. Now let's do some of your messages that you sent in. This one from Abedi in Kwadaso. He says that thank God suspected cases of coronavirus reported in Ghana were negative, but I think Samiji and his NDC should give us a break. This one from Fusaini Salifu Kaswazungu. He says the symptoms of this novel coronavirus must be well explained by the Ghana Health Service to avoid unnecessary suspicions and stigmatization.
Musa says, Evans, NDC has set the record straight on the Airbus issue. It's not only reckless to link President Mahama to this scandal, but also irresponsible on the part of desperate MPP guys to do so, because they have realized Ghanaians are wide awake. Hence, JM has never shouldered or cleared any of his appointees of wrongdoing during his 4-year reign. Yao Tama says, when Muntaka was talking, I didn't hear his colleagues heckling him or shouting. They are guilty as charged.
And this one says the vain attempt by the NPP to link government official 1 to former President Mahama is nothing but an attempt by the NPP to divert attention from the stinking excavator scandal. Kofi Seidu sent that one in. And on top story today, you talked about the coronavirus and the fact that Ghana has not recorded any case of the disease. We are told that 9 suspected cases came up. They've all tested negative. Health Desk Editor Fred Smith was at Kolebu all day. We'll talk more about that. But here are some tips for you.
The Ghana Health Service and the WHO both advise people to frequently wash their hands with alcohol-based hand rub, or what we call a sanitizer, or warm water and soap. Cover your mouth and nose with a flexed elbow or tissue when sneezing or coughing. Avoid close contact with anyone who has a fever or cough. And if you touched a surface suspected to have been infected, do not touch your eyes, nose and mouth before you wash your hands. Avoid eating raw or uncooked animal products, and seek medical help immediately if you discover any of the symptoms, and share your travel history with healthcare providers.
Your tips there for the novel coronavirus. No need to panic. Ghana has not recorded any case.
Yeah, and the good news is that the 2 individuals who yesterday triggered that scare at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have been discharged. And so this is really good news for all who may be concerned. So listen to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, Adansia Sokwa MP KT Hammond has denied reports he will not contest the upcoming parliamentary primary this year. This is in April. Reports indicate that Adansia Sokwa MP had returned forms he had picked previously at the constituency office because he has decided not to contest. But Mr. Hammond says that form was returned because a constituency chairman who sold the forms to him cannot be trusted. He, however, says he has filed his form and is ready to contest.
I do not know the guy. In all the 20 years I've been at Asokwa, I do not know him. So it's not question he qualifies or he doesn't qualify. He might know me. KT Hammond is whatever. Maybe
I've mistaken notoriety for fame or whatever. I don't know. But my name is, everybody knows the name. And then one day someone went around, he went contact from Walgatanga, there were calls. I mean, what is going on? Katie Hammond. So that's not the issue. I do not know him. Does he know me? I have contested 4 elections. Has he campaigned in one single election there? Has he done whatever? I mean, it is for him to talk about what is it that
he's not a member of the party.
Oh, you see, you guys, you are annoying me. Because I never say that is what is going on there. You see, and that is why I get pretty upset. I want people who, I mean, you journalists, I mean, you have had quite a lot to do with my constituency than some of those guys out there. They consistently, it's becoming a pattern in the constituency. They stay away in they cocoon themselves in their little cottages. Wait till the time of primaries, they pop up. I am from Asoka, I want to contest. Damn bloody hell. You should qualify within the rules and contest me. If you do, I will run you and I will run you. Yes.
Dansia Sukwa MP Katie Hammond interacting with the media in Parliament earlier today. Let's do sports. We go live to Benedict Owusu with the latest.
Well, Emefa, here at the Accra Stadium, the floodlights are on. The green pitch is ready with quite a good attendance, with the teams making their way from the turnover onto the pitch for what will be an amazing game tonight. Hearts are keen to make it back-to-back wins after last Sunday's win in Dewu over Dreams FC. And the big question is, can they do it? For Ashanti Goals, the last time they played here at the Accra Stadium was against Lagos City, which they drew goalless. Tonight is against a different team, and they'll be hoping to get something out of this game. So what are the fans saying ahead of the game?
Well, we are expecting that we win, because if we want to take the league, then this point is also vital for the cause of Accra. So it's like we win that we are expecting. That is my expectation in this game.
We expect a very uncompromising game, because it's been always difficult playing Ashgrove here at the Accra Sports Stadium, and we know it will be the same game that's been playing them. I remember the last time we played them, I think they beat us one there here. So we are aware of that, and we know where they are coming with. They also have a very good team in the league, so we are hoping that we'll get the results we're looking for today.
Fans of Accra speaking ahead of the game, which kicks off in about 4 minutes from now. And as you can hear, the Awoza Road has a folk song blazing through the speakers here at the Accra Stadium. Both teams have put up a very strong starting team for this evening's game. And away from the Heart Ashgrove game, the Ghana Boxing Authority has placed a 6-month injunction on former WBO Africa's Power Lightweight champion, that's Patrick Alote, for assaulting in Kumasi Asante Kotoko during the Super Clash on January 26 at this same venue. Now the suspension, which came into effect today after a meeting of the GB executives and the boxer at the Bukom Boxing Arena, is expected to end in August. According to his manager, Captain Promotions, they will appeal the suspension, calling it has. Definitely there will be more on this in our subsequent sports bulletins. That's of course Emefa.
Thank you very much. That's Benedict Owusu live from the Accra Sports Stadium. Now, over the past 25 years, the multimedia group's focus has been about impact on a society in dire need of change, constant change. For example, in the year 2016, our documentary team uncovered for the first time extensive congestion in Ghana's prisons and the inhumane treatment prisoners are subjected to. The Joy News series by Seth Kwame Boateng was captured in 2 documentaries titled Locked and Forgotten and Left to Rot. As we celebrate our Silver Jubilee, Joy News editor Fifi Kumsing looks back on the impact of the documentary that sparked major reforms in Ghana's prisons.
The documentaries Locked and Forgotten and Left to Rot were a game changer in the advocacy for reforms in Ghana's prison system.
Those in the middle are referred to as sardines because we have arranged them like the way sardines are arranged in a tin. There's no space between them.
Across the country, thousands of inmates remained crammed in tiny little spaces in the prisons. Their cases had not been determined, no criminal verdict pronounced, but they were held in the most inhumane of conditions. It's a situation prison officials could do very little about. Seth Kwame Boateng was on the beat.
The inmates, together with their officers, agreed to lead me to their places of convenience. The stench is extremely unbearable.
Following the revelations, the then Chief Justice, Justice Georgina Theodora Wood, was moved. She reactivated the Justice for All program a policy to try cases right in the prisons.
I have decided to speak to you on this, given the centrality of the issue to the hearts of Ghanaians and my own lamentations, and in respect of which I make the following suggestion. We watch part, if not the entire abridged version of this thought-provoking documentary.
President at the time, John Mahama, pushed the campaign even further, promising to champion more reforms in the prisons.
It is not easy to be locked away. It is a difficult thing, but the worst thing of all is to be locked away and to be forgotten. The message I bring you today is that you are not forgotten, and I've seen with my own two eyes what I have heard many a time about the conditions in our prisons. And I'd like to thank the two journalists that were acknowledged by your representative when he spoke, because I think those documentaries touched the hearts of people.
Chairman of the program, Justice Clemens Honyanuga, said the reforms meant a great impact on Ghana's prisons.
The Chief Justice, in wisdom, has appointed two judges from every region to now be in charge of the program, so that it will not be necessary for us to be traveling all the way from Accra to the regions.
The Chief Justice also ensured that refresher courses were organized for all judges and magistrates across the country. For us at Joy News and the Multimedia Group, the drive continues to shine a light on society's problems and speak truth to power. Fifi Kumsin, Joy News.
Well, guess who was on the Super Morning Show this morning? A man who has been a significant part of our 25-year history. Kojo Upon Nkrumah, who used to be the host of the Super Morning Show. He was here for almost 10 years. He later had to, of course, leave and pursue law and then now politics. Well, today he shared his, joy story. Listen to it.
It was a life-transforming Opusu Matilda, Asante, Sam Yuinchi, Bennett Frimpong, to be given the daunting task of hosting a Joy FM Super Morning Show for close to a decade. It literally transformed my life, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Wow. That's the information minister.
I think we missed an opportunity to get Kojo to give us his own love poem from a politician's point of view. And ministers, we've never had a minister give us one yet.
No.
We missed that opportunity.
Never too late.
Well, we have others though. We have an art director who has a poem for us, and this is the one that I really fell for a few days back. My love poem. This is an art director's love poem. The parting of my love is unique. Your beauty is like Mona Lisa's painting on Leonardo da Vinci's canvas. I will caress you like a clay on a potter's wheel, and I will mold you and make you famous like the Statue of Liberty. Let the love we share forever remain remain red like a red sticky acrylic paint. I love you. That's from Ray. He's an art director. Don't forget, we have to get a ticket, by the way.
Yes, you need to get your ticket out. Now we have tickets at the front desk of Joy FM. It's happening on Valentine's Day. Kwabna, and Becca will be there. You definitely need to get your ticket now. 700 Ghana cedis and 2,000 Ghana cedis. There's also a poem here from Maraba. She says, I will inject.
Maraba is what, a nest?
Is a nest.
Okay.
Yes,
I would love to hear this.
I will inject, infuse, or transfuse you with my love. I will pin you to my chest the way I wear my nurse's watch. I will dot on you 2 hourly, 4 hourly, 6 hourly, 8 hourly, or 12 hourly, like I'm checking your vitals or serving your medication. And this one from Nana Kwabna. He's a software engineer. Software engineer. He says, you have the IP address to my heart. The URL to my mind is www.iloveyaira.com. That's Nana Kwabna. But hear this. This one is from Joy News editor Fifi Kumsin.
Editor's poem.
It says, your love is always a breaking news story. Your precious looks, the teaser. Your smile is compelling content. I will always headline your name on the front page of my heart. Kathy, you are my perfect big story.
That is an earthquake. Need I say more?
No.
Except I get a ticket.
Get your ticket.
Get a ticket.
Yeah.
What day is it?
It's on 14th February.
How much is the ticket?
700 Ghana cedis.
If you want to stay over?
If you want to stay over, that's 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
And of course, you can just Momo it as well. It's 024 34 30 337. You can get your ticket.
You have to
well.
come for the live
performance. It's a love
performances.
experience. Kobna
of this
and Becca will serenade you. You wine and dine, and then breakfast, and then also sleep on the beach.
Yeah, with the soundtrack of the ocean in the background. My name is Evans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I am Emefa.